Everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at weather the next 8 to 10 days today. Also have a look at the rainfall that's coming up for the rest of today and tomorrow. Some heavy rain coming in off the North Sea at time. Before I get on with the video though, just to mention advertising, there's video ads on my pages at gazweatherviz.com. If you hit play on the video ad, you'll be supporting gazweatherviz.com. And thanks very much for doing that. So here is the current radar picture from the website, theweatheroutlook.com. Patchy rain coming through the Midlands. It's been a very wet morning from the Midlands into eastern and southeastern England. That rain across the Midlands has turned a little bit lighter and patchier now. They've got more heavy rain out in the North Sea, beginning to move in to Yorkshire, Lincolnshire, and down into East Anglia. That'll be pushing inland through the course of this afternoon. So here's the high resolution Euro 4 model from the website Weather Online. You can find a link to both weatheroutlook.com and Weather Online on my links page. This is the precipitation forecast for 6 o'clock this morning. You see that the rain was forecast to be coming in across eastern parts of England through the course of the morning. Some quite heavy rain there indeed. That is what has occurred. As we run through to midday, the prediction is that the Thursday area of rain will get a little bit lighter on the through the Midlands, but heavier rain came back onto the eastern side through the course of the afternoon, and that pushes inland really during the afternoon. So by 6 o'clock in the 6 o'clock this evening. It's still a really wet scene across the Midlands, much of East Anglia, Lincolnshire, up into some parts of Yorkshire as well. Also some heavy showers, possibly thundery showers breaking out across South Wales and down into southwestern parts of England as well. That rain goes on through Midlands into East Anglia into the evening. This is for midnight, the forecast up to midnight. And yeah, still raining there, so some big rainfall totals likely by the end of today across the Midlands, east parts of England. And as we go in 6 o'clock in the morning, well, maybe the rain shifting a little bit further north then. Another pulse of rain is coming in across the north of East Anglia, going up into Lincolnshire and Yorkshire, and beginning to push through northern England. So I think tomorrow's rain possibly going to be more for northern England. Actually, the Midlands, East Anglia, probably not too bad. There could be some showers around, but a really wet scene across much of northern England here. Some very, very heavy rain indeed. But we haven't quite pinned down this area of heavy rain coming in tomorrow, so it could be a little bit further south than that's suggesting, or it could even be a little bit further north, maybe impacting southern parts of Scotland. I think at the moment we're going for northern England to be very, very wet through the course of tomorrow, with that rain coming in off the North Sea. So a really unsettled spell we're going through just at the moment, and this looks like it's going to go on for some time actually. It may go on into the start of June. Here's the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts. Of course, we've got the ECMWF on the left, the GFS, as you're looking at it, is over on the right. Now 500 millibars, 80,000 feet is where we've got weather taking place. Basically high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream running above. And the blue area is extrapolating to low pressure, the orange area is extrapolating to high pressure. These are the mean flow charts for 8 to 10 days time. So this is taking us, well, up to the end of the first week of June, to be honest, up to around the 7th of June. And we see that even by then we've still got this trough cutting off down to the south and the southwest of the country. Both the charts have it. The ECMWF has it a little bit deeper than the GFS, but it's there on both the charts. And we've still got quite a lot of blocking going on up to the north and the west and the northeast of the country, of those orange colours there. Now, what's happening on the GFS could be that we're very close to building high pressure in from the Atlantic and from the northeast. So we aren't that far away, actually, because the trough is weaker here, aren't that far away from perhaps merging some sort of ridge around here and possibly getting an area of high pressure developing to the north of the country. I think really that's a bit speculative, and on both these charts the idea is still basically that low pressure but trough is dominating down to the south and the southwest of the country. So I expect it to be unsettled at the very least through the first week of June. Here's the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles from the GFS model, going up to, well, it's around the 11th, 12th of June here. This is for Manchester, and it's taking us a good way into June now. We can see red line here where we should be at this time of year in terms of those upper air temperatures, and we're around where we should be, actually terms of upper air temperatures, maybe a little bit above, but of course, when it's pouring with rain, the temperatures are limited in summer. Anyway, we're around where we should be, and we're probably going to keep that sort of around average type temperatures going through into the first week of June. Maybe a suggestion that we go a little bit more above average as we get through, possibly towards the end of the ensemble, but of course by then confidence is falling. Now, whatever the temperatures are doing, you see there's lots of rainfall spikes here. This is for Manchester, a very wet place, but nevertheless, a lot of rainfall spikes coming up. Maybe a few drier days towards the end of the week into the start of the weekend. Sometime around the 30th, 31st, we might get a couple of drier days, but overall, it is a very unsettled scene there with lots of precipitation spikes. The temperature anomaly for the next week, taking us from the 27th of May to the 4th of June, shows that we're going to be around or a little bit below the seasonal average in terms of the rainfall forecast, precipitation forecast. Again, around average, a little bit above average, perhaps in the east of the country. That's probably being impacted by the rainfall that we've got going on today and tomorrow. To be honest, I'm not sure it's going to be that wet in the east beyond that. But certainly rainfall up to average at the very least, and maybe a little bit above across some parts of the country. But generic charts, this is for GFS first of all, shows that we start next week with another area of low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. So whilst we may get a couple of drier days, Friday, Saturday, possibly into Sunday, by the time you get through to start next week, next low pressure is beginning to come through. And then that low pressure sort of sits over the country as we go into Tuesday. At the very least, it'll be keeping it showery. And we keep it showery then going through the week. So this is for Wednesday, the 4th of June, and that low pressure is over. It won't be a washout, but there'll certainly be heavy showers with that. Notice high pressure is out in the Atlantic, extending a ridge northwards to the high pressure sitting over the north of Scandinavia. So we're not that far, actually, from building in a ridge of high pressure across the country. But as long as we keep these little troughs sitting over the country, at the very least, it'll be staying unsettled. Now, as we get through to day 10, which goes through to Friday the 6th of June, then it turns even more unsettled, actually, with the trough deepening to the south of the country. That could bring some heavier rain back in from the south at the end of next week. But that's 10 days, right? It's a long way out, so I wouldn't take that too seriously. But the overall idea is that at the very least, through the first week of June, we are keeping it pretty unsettled. Going through to the ECMWF, we've got a little bit of a ridge here at the start of next week, extending in off the Atlantic. It's trying to bring the westerlies back, but overall it's pretty through next week where you've got low pressure sort of around the country. This low pressure down to the southwest is quite interesting, quite a deep low pressure, 990 millibars. I'm not sure about that, but I think the overall idea is that we're going to keep this trough somewhere around the country through next week, so we're likely to keep it at the very least on the showery side. As we go through to the end of next week, well, we're still bringing in easterly winds. We've still got low pressure sort of around the country. This is suggesting really more to the south, so maybe actually not too bad for the north. There is that ridge extending up from the Atlantic to the north of Scotland. If we can just pull that down a little bit, Scotland won't be too bad. But for England and Wales, really, we're keeping that low pressure around. It's to the south or just to the southeast of the country. So it'll be showery through much of next week for England and Wales. And again, some of those showers could be quite heavy and thundery. As long as winds are coming in from a northeasterly or easterly direction, it's never going to be particularly warm. In June, anyway, once we get through to July and August, we can potentially bring in some heat from the east, but for June it's not going to be that great really with wind from the east or the northeast. So overall I think we are looking at a continuation of the unsettled pattern. I think again a few drier days around Friday, Saturday, may extend it into Sunday. I'll have more about that on 5-day forecast for you tomorrow. But as we go through next week, I think the basic idea is that temperatures aren't going to be particularly exciting, and we probably keep quite a lot of showers going as well. So, not a great outlook really for the start of summer. Of course, summer, meteorologically speaking, is the 1st of June to the 31st of August, so we are going to be starting summer next week. Statistically, as I always explain, it's questionable. Summer conditions can extend, of course, in September and October, but meteorologically, using the useful for these statistics, summer is 1st of June to the 31st of August. We're going to be starting summer next week, and it's not a great start, I have to say. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.